10 things a guy will text when he deeply loves you. The first thing a guy will text when he deeply loves you, he will text you back immediately. Not like 10 hours later, not 3 days later. I'm not even kidding you. I have clients who don't hear from a guy for like days. No, when he's truly interested in you, he will respond back right away. And part of it is because he really respects you. And honestly, my only thought also is that he may think, hey, there's other guys in the game. You know what I mean? So why not text back immediately? Like maybe she'll think I'm not interested and she's going to go for someone else. The second thing a guy will text when he deeply loves you, he will follow up with you. Look, if he said, hey, let's do this again next week sometime, then he will actually indeed text you the week after, right? And be like, hey, I said, I'm going to text you. How is Friday at 5? How does sushi sound? He will follow up with his words, right? Because his word is law. He has integrity, and it's important for him, for you to see that he has integrity. The third thing a guy will text when he deeply loves you, he will try to impress you. He will, potentially name drop, mention that he got himself a new car. Maybe it's a luxury car, maybe he got himself a Porsche, right? Or maybe he just got promoted and you are the first one to know that he's now the CFO of the company that he works for, right? Or maybe he just won, like, I don't know, like he won a bet or he won a prize, or right? But in any way or shape or form, he wants to look good to you. So he wants to impress you. So don't necessarily be scared off when he shares something with you, where he wants to impress you. The fourth thing a guy will text when he deeply loves you, he will use emojis. Now, what we actually see is that when men are truly interested in you, they will use more emojis than when they're not interested in you. When they're not interested in you, the text will be like really short and whatever, right? Like a couple words. But when they're interested in you, they almost want to express their emotions like through an emoji. It almost creates this emotional connection with you. And my personal theory also is it brings out a little bit this little boy part inside of themselves, right? That wants to have fun, be spontaneous, be joyful, be playful, because he is really interested in you and you actually bring that out in him. The fifth thing, a guy will text you when he deeply loves you. He will reference what you guys had talked about. Maybe you met at a workshop, or maybe you had like an insider joke together, when you went on your first date. So he will actually text you about it, right? And he will make a reference towards it because he really wants to let you know, hey, we're on the same team. Hey, I remember that. Hey, I got you, right? So he'll be just like, I don't know. Let's say you talked about raccoons. And maybe you talked about raccoons on a motorcycle. And I don't know, you have this insider joke about it, right? And it's some metaphor for something. Like, it's going to be so fun. Like when you get to like, hey, how's Raccoon Town going or whatever, right? And I know it sounds like really goofy, but like this is actually a really good sign that he is like indeed interested in you. Also, what we really see, it brings out creativity and sort of like innovation when we're truly attracted to someone. The sixth thing, a guy will text you when he deeply loves you. He will make a little bit of a self-deprecating humor of himself, right? And I think part of it is because he wants to be liked. He doesn't want to come off as like, show off, or he doesn't want to come off as arrogant. He wants to come off as relatable, right? He wants to say, you know what, like talk to me, connect with me, trust me, right? And why does he want that? Is because he truly likes you, right? And he wants to build this authentic connection with you. Now, also self-deprecating because there could be a little insecurity, right? He doesn't know if you like him, if you don't like him, or maybe he feels a little uncomfortable, having like feelings like that for you so early on. So if he texts you that, that's a really good sign. The seventh thing, a guy will text you when he deeply loves you. He will make sure that he is the one who sends the last text. Okay, this is like really huge because I have so many women come to me and the man is usually the one who, who just texts occasionally and then the woman texts and then she doesn't hear back from him. That will not occur with a man who's truly interested in you because he wants to really know that you know that he's interested in you. Also, he doesn't want to keep like an open loop because, maybe there's something unsaid about it and that could turn into something. And he doesn't want to risk that because he likes you. Again, he wants to make an impression on you. He wants to make you feel safe and he wants to make you feel supported. So how he does that is by saying it's almost like virtually tugging you in at night, right? When he's the one saying, have a good night, sweet dreams, I'm thinking about you tonight. Like he's the one who's like tugging you and kissing you at night. The eighth thing a man will text you if he deeply loves you is he will make you a more thoughtful compliment. And so that actually goes back to something that goes towards observation, right? Because of course, he could just make you a superficial compliment and just let you know how gorgeous you looked in that green dress that you wore or how he loved your hair or your eyes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. However, when he uses a thoughtful compliment and it really shows, let's, for example, say you had like a really meaningful way how you connected with the staff at the restaurant, right? And he observed that. Maybe you actually bounced off something that the waitress said. Maybe she shared a story and you made a joke out of it. And then you guys had kind of like a bantering back and forth. And he will make a comment afterwards and truly saying, hey, I so appreciate your honesty and your genuineness with people. I loved how you just, but a waitress didn't have a good day. And then you just like, boosted her mood by, turning it into a joke. And I just really so appreciate that about you. That's a really good sign. The ninth thing a guy will text when he deeply loves you is he will ask you a lot of questions because he is putting himself next to you. He's wondering how you look like in the future next to him, right? Like he's asking himself a lot of questions in the set, how are you going to look with his friends? How are you going to look with his family? Like also, what are you interested in? He's trying you on. He's seriously considering a long-term relationship with you or potentially even like a longer like marriage, right? Being the mother of his kids. And so on. Look, this is what a man is trying on when he deeply loves you. Right? That's what happens. So if he's like truly inquisitive and he really wants to learn about your world because he can understand you more. And when he learns about your world, like he also connects more with you as well, right? And that's what I've really seen when I met my husband, Brody. He asked me a lot of questions. He was extremely inquisitive because he was interested. He was invested. So if a man doesn't do that, right, like then you see, like he's not interested. Now, the 10th thing, a guy will text when he deeply loves you. He will indeed text you when he's out with friends, when he's out at a party, when he's at a bar. And girlfriend, this is like so huge because that means you on the forefront of his mind. That is quite incredible because when he's with his friends, normally the more masculine a man is, the more single focused he is, right? That would mean that he's actually connected with his friends, right? He's like focusing on the night, right? Or he's like listening what his friends have to say. He's bantering around with them. However, when he texts you in the middle of that, or let's say he's going out golfing with his friends, when he texts in the middle of that, that means you are consistently on his mind, right? Like, because you have the power, like, I want you to really understand this. You have the power to interrupt his flow or his focus. And he would only do that with a woman that he is truly invested in. Believe me that. So if you haven't yet, next watch the 5 signs a man deeply loves you and adores you by clicking here on the screen or in the description.